Hello, this is part one of how to create an online training module in VSys One for those who have purchased the online training module tool. This training will specifically cover how to create the quiz or content of the online training module itself. Please note that when it comes to creating online trainings, there are various things that need to be in place first, such as a training subject. An additional disclaimer that what's shown in this recording may be version specific and your current version of VSys may either look different or may not have all of the displayed options in this demonstration. Now, once your training subject has been created and you're ready to start your online training module content and quiz, the first section we want to navigate to is the setup online training content / quizzes within the online training section of VSys Live. Now to get there, we want to go to our VSys Live site. And then once you're in the specific live site that you want to build this online training module in, we are then going to find within the advanced settings. So we're in our VSys Live site here under advanced settings. If you have purchased the tool, you should see that online training section there. Now, when you first open the online training section, we're going to get to the online trainings itself. So this is more of the properties and where we create the online training. But the first part that we want to create is actually the content and quizzes. So the content and the quizzes is where we actually create all of either the questions or the material that we're going to be displaying to the volunteer. So much like writing a book, we want to create the content or the body of the story first. And how we get there is once you click into online trainings on the left-hand side up top, there's going to be two blue links. We want to click on Setup Online Training Content / Quiz. When we click there, we're now taken to our VSys Live Online Training Content / Quizzes. So here, if you click on this blue link, Add Online Training, this is where we can create a new online training quiz. Now, when you first click Create New Online Training Quiz, a blank template is going to pop up, and the first few things that we want to fill out are, of course, the description. So this is going to be the name of the quiz. For our demo purposes today, I'm going to be creating a hand washing quiz. Let's say this is a hand washing training. Another checkbox that we do want to make sure we're checking off is that we're going to be making a quiz with mixed HTML content and questions. This just means that we might be putting in a combination of either a PDF PowerPoint slide, video, embedded questions, static content. But you'll notice that once we check that off, different options then generated and popped up. So depending on what you would prefer, some options that we like putting together are checking off the show multiple choice questions as radio buttons. If you want your volunteers to be able to navigate between back and next and jump between the different sections of the online training, if you want to center any content that has images, if you want to show the progress, completion, so on and so forth. Now, once we get through some of the initial settings within the online training quiz, the next section is details, or where we can put some additional verbiage. So for example, if you wanted to add some instructions for the online training module before your volunteers actually take the module, if it's a video that they have to watch and they have to answer questions, this is where we can put the title of the training and those instructions. Please watch this video, then proceed to answering the questions. You can also put in a pass or fail message. So if they correctly passed the quiz, congratulations, you passed. If they failed, letting them know that they failed and that they need to retake the quiz, whatever verbiage we want to put here. But for instructions, I'm just going to quickly put in a little demo here. So right now I'm just putting in some coding, but if you don't know coding, you can always go ahead and uncheck this box here and it'll do it for you in the formatted view, and you can always format it there as well. So let's say I'm going to do a little header title, and if I want to include a little paragraph of instructions, let's just put additional instructions here. Now this is putting it in the HTML coding, but if I uncheck this box, it'll put it in an easier format where you can just type it in. And if you wanted to make it bold, but let's say I want to make this centered, I forgot a period, let me type in that period. You can also add in and format your instructions or messages this way as well. Let's just say for the pass message, I'm just going to do a really simple, congrats, you passed. For the fail message, I'm just going to put in that unfortunately they failed, please retake the training for passing score, whatever verbiage you'd like. Once you're done with putting in the verbiage that you'd like to put in, the third section here, questions, this is where we can actually put in the content. So this is where we can put in different materials, such as if we wanted to put in static blocks of either text or paragraphs, we wanted to add in various questions, multiple choice questions, check boxes, signatures, text memos. We wanted to embed any videos. There's YouTube video options, Vimeo. If you had an MP4 video, and then this here, embedded PDF link. If you had a link to a PDF, we can embed it here. Or if you just have a PDF that's saved to your desktop from the third blue link up in the top left-hand corner here, we can always import from PDF there as well. So various different options on how we'd like to put together the content. But to add content, you would just right-click in this blank section. And the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is just adding what we call HTML content or just static text. When we open something up like this, the first thing that's going to pop up is description. This is all internal. So whatever internal description you want to put in here so that you know what exactly this is. So here, I'm just going to put that this is our intro, and I'm going to do a little quick brief intro text here. So let's say this is our hand washing intro. And let's just say if there needed to be like an ordered list, bullet point 1, bullet 2, whatever information that we wanted to display to the volunteers, this is where you can just type that in and format that. So let's say I wanted to make this bold. If I wanted to make the font bigger, underline it, we can do that all here. Accessibility content, what this is this is for volunteers who use screen readers. So this is going to be very important. If you have a training and you have any volunteers that use screen readers, we do want to make sure for ADA compliance and compatibility that we want to put this in. So we just want to put in that same content into accessibility content there so that their screen readers can read that training as well. And once you're done with that, you hit add, and then now we have our content there. The next type of content that I'm going to be putting in is, let's say we had a PDF or I had some PowerPoint slides and I wanted to incorporate that in the training. In order to do that, the best way is to actually have those PowerPoint slides as a PDF, or maybe we had a PDF with images and content. What the system is going to do is essentially it's going to take a screenshot or an image of each page in the PDF and import it as its own individual content here. So let's say I had a PDF that's already on my desktop or my device. I'm going to go ahead and select and open it. The system is going to look through that PDF, take those images, and start importing that. Once it's complete, you should get a little message pop up. So here it's saying that it found 2 pages. It makes its best effort to import content, but not every PDF file can be read. And then for the ADA compliance, the text that comes in might not be accurate as well. So just some disclaimers there. But once we hit OK, we're going to see those 2 pages within that PDF have now been created and added as content. If I click into page 1 of my PDF, we're going to see, yep, this is exactly that first page that we had within the PDF. So essentially just took a little screenshot of that. And you're going to notice here that it also brought in the accessibility content. Whenever you're importing from PDF, we do highly recommend going in and cleaning up the accessibility content because, for example, the screen reader would read this as arrow, P arrow for healthcare providers know the truth. And that wouldn't make too much sense for a volunteer. So we're just going to clear that out and then clear that out at the end as well. Now, some other things to note is if you wanted to change the internal description for this PDF and just give it a little bit more of a descriptive title so you know exactly what it is, you could do that as well. If you wanted to show after this image here, have the volunteer click the little next button to proceed to the next thing, we can do that as well. So that's automatically checked off. But if you didn't want the 2 pages to show up separately, we can uncheck that and then page 1 and page 2 would show up together and scroll. But I'm just going to go ahead and put next. And let's say that first block of text that I had, I want to show a next button after that content too. I'll just do that. So now we have some static text there as content. We got some PDF that we imported. Let's add a YouTube video now. So let me just grab my YouTube video link. So let's say we have a YouTube video link. We can hit add YouTube video. Where we put in the link is actually under video ID. So if we put in the YouTube video link, it'll just take that last portion there. Question here is just if you wanted any text or a question to display above that YouTube video and when it's embedded. So typically, I just like to put the title of the YouTube video. So this title is what you need to know about hand washing. Some other options are you can also play with the width and height of the size of the embedded video if you wanted to hide controls, I want to center the video, if we want to autoplay, and if we want to show a next button. And if we hit save, we now have the YouTube video that's been added. Now, the last type of content that I'll be demonstrating is adding a question. Now, when it comes to adding questions, there are various question types. So when we click into question types, we're going to see we can add in a checkbox question, multiple choice, numeric, one or more checked items, signature, text. Now, checkbox, what this is this is just going to be a single choice. So whether or not they check the box, this can be if you want them to acknowledge, let's say they watch the video and you want them to acknowledge to the statement, I acknowledge that I have watched the above video, and they have to check that off. That's a way that you can use a checkbox question. Multiple choice could be true or false, choose one correct answer out of A, B, C, D, E. Numeric will be they're typing in a numeric value. One or more checked items is if there are a list of choices and the answers contain one or more correct choices. Ranked list is going to be a list of items that need to be arranged in the correct order. So we'll create them in the correct order. VSys is going to randomize them to the student, and then you can also include incorrect choices as well to make things more difficult. But for example, let's say there's a list of 5 options. They need to put the 5 options in the correct order, or there's a list of 5 options, only 3 are correct, and those 3 need to be put in the correct order as well. That's another way to use ranked list. Signature here, this is not necessarily a question, but it is a way to capture signatures. So if you wanted to capture a signature as an acknowledgement to the training, you can have them sign. And then text is going to be a little text box or having them type in a text answer. Now, the only thing with using a text question is that the text answer response is going to have to be matching exactly. So it is case sensitive. So for example, stop, all capitalized, is not the same as stop no capital or stop with a capital S. For demonstration purposes, let me first do a multiple choice. So let's say I have a multiple choice question. The question is going to be, what is correct? Depending on how you want to display your questions, if you want your questions numbered, we'll also want to put in that number. So the questions display exactly as is. So if you don't need the number, we can leave that off, but we'll put in that question there. Now we can start adding our answers. So let's just say the answer options are A, 1, B, 2, and then C, 3. You can add answers by clicking the blue add answer or right clicking and adding the answer there. And of the answer choices, the correct answer is going to be 1. If you click randomize, it's just going to put the answers in a randomized order. Otherwise, it's going to display it exactly in the order that we have created here. And again, some other options that we have are if we want to show a next button after this question, if we want to prevent them from moving forward until the question is answered correctly, that's another option as well. Now, one other type of question that I'll demonstrate is the checkbox. So let's say we wanted them to acknowledge that they've watched the video and finished answering the question. So let's just say the question is going to be, I acknowledge that I have watched this video and completed the training. Now the question type is a checkbox, and we want to say that the correct answer is that they have to check it off. Now a good option to use here is that you can prevent them from moving forward until they answer that question correctly. So let's say they don't check off that acknowledgement, it doesn't allow them to move forward with the quiz. And essentially, that's how we can create all our different content from here. If you wanted to change the order, you can move the content up or down. Let me just switch that back. But once you have all of your content, we're going to want to hit save. So I'm just going to hit save and stay here because we want to keep that to the screen. But that is essentially the basics of how to create an online training quiz. And the next part of the training, that's where we're actually going to set up the properties, create the link to the online training. We'll be able to view what the training looks like. And then we'll also be going over setting up access for the volunteers to actually take the training. Thank you.